Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. And this is your daily news. So headlines, you can see this here, noises detected in search for missing Titanic submersible. And this story has been all over the news. I wasn't planning on covering it, but in fact, there was a story that you can see here that I guess they're hearing some sounds. I didn't think they were going to get anything, to be really frank. They have 30 hours left of air. There's 5 people on this thing. I'm sure you guys know this already. It's 5 very, very wealthy people who are able to do this kind of stuff. And, my personal opinion on this stuff is that we're spending a lot of money to find these people. I totally get it, though. These are, essentially high value individuals and, or high net worth individuals, I should say. And you can see here, there's, Canada's looking, America's looking. I think there's a bunch of private things looking. So you got planes, you got vessels here. And, the Titanic wreckage, I guess, is 12,000 feet down. There's a robot diver named Victor 6000 that's looking. That's about 6,000 feet down as of now. And we'll see if they find something. So they basically got a day left. And I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this thing. My particular point of view is I'm not thrilled about spending money on this kind of stuff. You'll hear about these sort of situations around then where, people climb up, Mount Everest or something like that, and then they get lost, and then we got to go search for them, and it puts other people's lives in danger. I do understand, though, to be fair, from the military's perspective, this gives them something to do so they can practice drills and this kind of things. But overall, I'm not thrilled about spending a ton of money to find these people. But it is what it is. So I don't want to sound heartless or anything, and I'm just, keeping it real. However, it looks like they might actually be able to find them. So we'll keep track of this for a day or so. Looking around the markets, as always, there's always a drama with Tesla. The market was down, yet Tesla's just been pumping. You guys can see this here. It's just on a tear. So if you bought Tesla in January, I'd love to hear about it. You are doing quite well. Now, the question is, how long will the pump last? It's trading at a P of 80, which is quite high. Again, that's the price of the stock compared to how much a company earns. What's a fair P of Tesla? Maybe 20 or 30, if that. Ford and GM, they trade like in the 10s, the 12s kind of thing. So this is still, we're trading very, very high for a car company, but I understand this is a popular stock. In fact, the most popular stock among retail investors, and they are getting some good news. I'm telling you the truth, they are. So Rivian is, I guess, going to also jump on board with the Tesla supercharging network. They're the ones who make the electric vehicles, the trucks. And I actually think this is probably a better truck than the Cybertruck. I know that may sound like sacrilege to Tesla fanboys and fangirls, but I think the Rivian probably makes a pretty nice vehicle. We'll see how this plays out. One of the things that when you talk about the superchargers thing is Tesla doesn't make that much money off the supercharging network. So yes, it's good news for them. They can make more money, but I think, in my personal opinion, it does more damage to the brand than the money is worth. Essentially, if you're a Tesla owner, now you have to share your superchargers with, GM, Ford, now Rivian, and whoever else wants to jump on board. And it kind of cheapens the value of your car. Also, too, the supercharger slots are designed for Teslas, right? So when you get other vehicles in there, be it, Ford, GM, or Rivian, and they're bigger, they're going to take up 2 spots where, a Tesla takes up 1 because that's what it's designed for. And so I get it. The fanboys, fangirls will find this to be really, really cool, but I do think it lessens the value of your car. That's my opinion on that. Also, too, with the Tesla world, Elon Musk is trying to woo Modi and trying to build basically factories in India. So we'll see how this goes. He's saying, I'm a fan of Modi, and we'll watch this. And this is a funny thing that I always laugh about this one is, the fanboys and fangirls, say that Elon's all about free speech and things like that. But when it comes to, world leaders, Elon Musk will abide by, rules in China, will abide by rules in India, and he'll play the rules of the game. So if countries there don't care about free speech or don't care about human rights, Musk doesn't care either, right? So this is sort of why I always want you to understand that he's a business person first, and this idea that he cares about certain sort of rights, stuff like that is a bunch of hooey. He cares about money, and sometimes too people say, "Oh, Chris, you're so dumb. Elon Musk doesn't care about money at all. He's just doing stuff out of the goodness of his heart." I don't think so. But you can have your own point of view on that. So he's trying to expand into Europe. And it's funny because if you can look at this headline of this one here, it says, why Tesla stock rally doesn't make sense in 8 charts. And, it's real, guys. You can make money off this stuff, but just understand that it's a game. And, this isn't trading on any fundamental values. It is a game. And you got to play the pumps, and you can make money on this stuff, but just understand it's a game. Now, according to RBC, this is kind of interesting. They're looking at the valuation of Tesla, and how are we pricing this thing so expensive essentially. Well, the RBC's core valuation is if Teslas indeed do robotaxis, it's worth this much. If they do FSD, it's worth this much, and their actual cars is right there, right? So this gives you essentially a general gist of Tesla stock being well overvalued if their robotaxis and FSD don't come through. If they do come through, theoretically, yes, it could be worth this much. I'm saying theoretically. Even Musk himself has admitted that the Tesla stock is pricing in this future tech that may or may not happen. And so this is where it becomes a really, really expensive stock, because you're pricing in perfect future, right? You understand this point. You can take a look at the present right now. This is how much money Tesla makes off their cars. It's all right here, right there. Their services is right there, and their energy amount is right there, right? So they're primarily a car company. And I understand when you see the news of Supercharger, the pumpers will tell you it's fantastic. It's like a Amazon, AWS moment, that kind of thing. I personally am not buying it. The margins on the Superchargers aren't great, and I don't see that necessarily being a massive revenue drive as much as people played out to be. Now, when you also talk about massive revenue drive, they're not talking about actual profit, because again, the margins aren't great on those kind of things. But I get it. People who love Tesla, they don't necessarily want to look at actual charts and real numbers. But it is what it is. I just want to show you guys this kind of stuff because you take a look at the forecast, and this is our analyst. Basically, Tesla's earnings are forecast to go down the next 3 years, right? And maybe this is all wrong. Maybe these are just people who are just making stuff up, but that could be true. But I just want to point out some things that we're seeing here. Other things as well that sort of indicates that this could be at the top. Cathie Wood is selling her Tesla stock. This was on June 13th. She was selling 98 million worth, so that's 393,000 shares. Also, too, just on the June 20th, she's selling more. She sold 73,000 shares. That was another 19 million. So certainly watch what other people are doing. Don't care what people say. Look at what they do. So Cathie Wood is selling some Tesla. Speaking of what people do, this was actually an interesting one. So NIO, that's a popular EV maker over in China. They've been actually struggling, their stock price and their company. They're just not making any money. And evidently, there were some investors in Abu Dhabi. They're putting in 700 million in capital on this thing. So they bought in at lower than the current market price. So that's sort of why you didn't see the stock shoot up like crazy, because they're paying less than what market value was. They are into it. I think it's what they have. They bought it 6.7% below what it was priced at. So if you are interested in this stuff, I would say definitely get the Hong Kong shares. I wouldn't mess with the ADRs, but that's just my point of view. But do be careful out there. Other news around the market, FedEx reported their earnings. Not so great. So it says here, sales fall 10%. Basically, they're facing a lot of headwinds. I'll go through some of the details here. So this is according to their CEO, Raj Subramaniam. And he's saying, they aren't expecting a strong turnaround in business soon. Here are the reasons: inflation, higher interest rates, and a slowdown in global trade are likely to temper parcel volumes and revenue growth. So it doesn't sound great over at FedEx. I think they're also dealing with, and I don't think they necessarily mention it here, they're dealing with, right, you got higher fuel costs, and you also got higher labor costs. And, as they mentioned, the slowdown on parcel trade, just people aren't sending as many packages as they once were. And it's hard times for FedEx. So I don't think FedEx is going to disappear anytime soon. But just, talking with you guys out loud, the companies like DocuSign, these kind of things where you don't have to FedEx people contracts anymore, overnight. You can just do this all digitally. I think that's really taken a toll. And then you also have a slowdown of, say, people just sending packages or freight around. So FedEx is not, triggering or signaling any kind of, rebound anytime soon. And it's actually kind of interesting because, and this is, going back to the Tesla situation, like everything was down yesterday except for Tesla. It was like 5%. And so it makes you wonder, like, okay, is Tesla really that special, or is there something else going on? And, my personal opinion, it is a meme stock. So it's not trading on fundamentals. And yes, you can make money on it. I want to really emphasize that you can totally make money on it, but just understand it is a game. Because when you look around the world, I mean, things don't look so great. Look at this. UK inflation stuck at 8.7%, higher than forecast. And for those of our viewers who are watching, this, we do this every day, who are in the UK, please chime in. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. What things do you find expensive? I was just looking through some of the stuff, and it seems that food is really expensive in the UK right now. And I'd love to hear, what other things that you guys are finding expensive. You can see the chart here. So looks like inflation, peaked, was probably around late 2022. It's come down, but not as much as the US, right? So CPI at like 8 in the UK, it's pretty crazy. And you can see here comparing UK to US, it's like, the US is like half the inflation of the UK. So if you're complaining about prices in the US, man, imagine it would be terrible in the UK. And it's even worse than Germany and in France. So it's just really high there. And we had talked about this a month or so ago. There was actually, this is a true story, there was actually a pasta crisis in Italy. And evidently, pasta prices are expensive all over through Europe. I was looking at these charts here. And if you're in Europe, please chime in this. And this is no joke, right? If pasta is a large part of your diet, and costs are soaring, that sort of affects, everyone in your household. So you can see this here. They got the Czech Republic, Germany, Greece, Spain, France, Italy, Hungary, UK. They're all experiencing spikes in pasta prices. And, this thing with this way is, say, in your household, you eat a bunch of eggs. So, like, for example, in this household, we love eggs. Egg prices are crazy expensive. So, we've had to dial that back down just to, get things under control. And it is what it is. The other thing, too, is interesting about the UK. You can read the headlines here in this one. UK net debt hits highest level in more than 60 years, topping 100% of GDP. And I don't know. I every time I look at stuff in the UK, it just feels like you guys are just way out of whack. So, when things look terrible in the USA, just look at the UK and you feel a little bit better. It's a joke. But, I'd be curious to get people in the UK, please chime in on these things. So you got high inflation there. You got high national debt. And I think there was some news recently about Boris Johnson was doing something crazy, and it is what it is. But to be fair, in the USA, we got our own crazy stuff. Hunter Biden pleads guilty. So people out with the pitchforks to get Hunter Biden. It looks like he did get a guilty charge. Basically, just so it was, I think that they're getting him on tax evasion, where he didn't pay his taxes for a couple of years, and he'll probably end up paying a couple $100,000, something like that. I don't think he's going to go to prison or anything like that. He'll maybe do a parole sort of thing. They're going to get him on a gun violation as well. And, the guy, is guilty. And I've never liked Hunter. I've never said I liked Hunter or anything like that. And this is kind of a thing that bothers me about many people in the USA, that they assume that if you don't like Trump, then you must love Biden, or they assume that if you don't like Biden, then you must love Trump. And I think there is a world where you don't have to like either of these people or any of these people. And in particular, too, I always thought this one was kind of funny, where you're so focused on like the president's kid, and it's just like, it is what it is. But I am covering the story because it is a thing. He pled guilty. I don't think this is the stuff that, the Reddit and QAnon crowd really, really wanted. I didn't see anything about laptops or, government secrets, stuff like that. It just looks like, didn't pay his taxes. And, pay your taxes and, do what you're going to do. And that was a plea bargain. And it reminds me of this kind of thing as well. This is the FTX U.S. president, so the former one. So not Sam Bankman-Fried, but the guy who's running the FTX brand. So he, is no longer tied to FTX, but he's trying to start something new. And you can see right here, it says, former FTX U.S. president taps power of artificial intelligence in new company. And the basic gist of it is this guy's like, hey, everyone, AI is awesome. And I'm going to bring the power of AI to you, the retail investors, so you can make a lot of money with the power of AI. And pay no attention that I was also part of the FTX crypto scheme. So you guys get my feeling, how I feel about this guy. So, there's some people out there that you shouldn't trust. I will put the, whatever this guy was, his name, I don't even care his name. Oh, Brett Harrison. This guy, I put him in that category, the same as Hunter Biden. I trust these people as much as I can throw them. And it is what it is. And I think that's how you got to be with anyone. It's not about like any particular, I have to have allegiance to FTX or I have to, hate FTX or that. It's just that, you want to turn on essentially your, BS detectors. And I spot BS here and I spot BS there. So it is what it is. So anyway, let me hear your thoughts, especially on the submarine story. Are you with me? Do you think that we're spending too much money to find these people? Or do you think that these people are, deserve to have nations, militaries find them? And also, too, do you think we are going to find them? I was really surprised that we are getting some noises detected. They have 30 hours left. So thanks again for your time, everyone. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I'll catch you next video.